and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
I don't want to go to school today. I have an earache. Or an eye ache. Earache my eyes. I don't want to do it. You can't make me go. I don't want it.
Damn,
no, I don't want it.
And hot.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
I'm not making anybody laugh. I refuse. I'm not going to school today, Mom. I quit school. I know I'm only second grade. I quit. I'm done. I got a life to live. Get out of my face. Actually, I don't feel well. I have earache, an eye ache, butt ache. I do. I can't sit on those school chairs anymore. Not a happy camper. I never even went camping, but I'm not a happy camper. Oh, good morning. Welcome to October. It is...
Wake up, America.
Hey,
You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine.
Shut up. He did it twice. The fucking loop button. Good morning. Good morning. It's October 2nd, Monday, October 2nd, 2023. I hope you have a beautiful day wherever you are. It's sunshiny here. The sun has finally come out. Yesterday afternoon, it came out after 9 days of dreary, ugly life. And I'm still not well. I'm not well. I'm just not well. I miss the days of being young. When you get a cold and it would last 3 days, tops, and you'd be back to normal. This is going on about 15 years I've had this cold. Feels like anyway. I feel terrible, and I'm falling asleep. I don't have COVID. I tested this morning. No COVID. It's not COVID. It's just like flu-y, coldy bullshit. Anyway, I'm done complaining now. I think I'm done complaining. That's all the complaints I have. Looking through my Facebook memories, 4 years ago today, 91 degrees here. 91. That's like summer heat wave. I'll take it. I will take it. I know a lot of people don't like the heat, humidity, and all that kind of stuff. I love it. If you bet on football and took my picks, you're probably not watching this because you've probably been evicted. Probably can't pay your internet bill or your wireless bill. Listen, you fucked up. You trusted me. My picks went in the toilet. Probably because I'm sick. I'm blaming it on the fact that I'm sick. My head was all cloudy last week. And listen, this thing with the Jets, if you believe me that the Jets were going to win, shame on you. But I'm sorry. I fucked up, and now you're broke if you bet anything on it. And I'm not going to help you out. I'm not going to help you out because I can't help you out. Here's the thing. First of all, yesterday I played a gig. I shouldn't be playing the gig because I'm sick and I could be getting people sick. But I also know that if I don't show up, it makes other people's lives miserable. Can't just call in sick. In the entertainment business, it's really fucked up if you just call in sick and say, I'm not coming. So you don't let people know you're sick. But at the end of the gig yesterday, my check wasn't there. What do you mean my check wasn't there? No check. And the guy's away. The manager is away in Nashville. So didn't get paid for the gig yesterday. Then I come home, and this is the fucking thing that has got me enraged lately, is these people who you give permission to take monthly payments out of your account for a service you sign up for, and then they abuse that. This last night, almost midnight, I got a notification that my website hosting company has taken 2 dips of all my money. I mean, like thousands of dollars they took from me last night. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? They're charging me for shit I don't have. It's abuse. Now, my first thought it was a scam. Like, this is the wrong email. Who's sending me this shit? Because I get those all the time where it looks like that. So you'll panic and click on something and give them your passwords and all that stuff. This was not that. It came from the legitimate source. So, I fired off an angry email and said, you people are out of your fucking mind. I'm going to take my business elsewhere. But it hasn't been resolved as of yet this morning. So if you bet all your money on football and lost because of me, don't look to me to actually bail you out because I'm fucking broke. I'll eat today. Don't get me wrong. You won't. You won't because you bet on the teams that I told you to. But that's your fucking problem. You shouldn't trust me. Don't trust me. That's all. Anyway, Willie's here. Willie's here now. Willie had a great weekend at Ramadan, Ramadan.
Supercon.
Ramadan.
No, I was not at Ramadan, but not that I wouldn't go, but that's definitely not where I was at. Was it Ramadan? Is it that holiday? I don't know. I don't keep up.
No, Ramadan happens in like December.
You know what? You know what I wish? I wish I could not know when Christmas fucking was. That'd be fucking fabulous.
You know, you have what this bullshit that they put. You got it's basically a pagan holiday that.
I know. Oh my God, that's actually one of my favorite things to do, Matt. Is during Christmas time, one of my favorite things to do is tell Christians how they robbed our fucking traditions.
Oh, like, you're a pagan. You're not
I mean,
a biker pagan.
Hang on a second. Are you not aware that my wife is a witch?
Yeah, but that's different than pagan.
I mean. That's debatable. I mean,
all right. Well, we don't have to debate it here because I don't have a very clear head for debates. Maybe another day we can debate that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But it's not exactly the same thing. But okay, so you attach.
It's same vein, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's like saying Christian and then Catholic and Lutheran kind of deal. I think, in my opinion,
Saturnalia, whatever. Whatever the name of the pagan holiday is. Saturn. It's about Saturn, right? Worshipping Saturn.
Are you talking about solstice?
No, the actual pagan holiday with the trees and
okay.
I think it's Saturnalia, something like
maybe
that.
That could be.
It's
been a long time since I read it.
Oh, we lost Willie. He's gonna pop right back in. Watch, pop. Oh, this is like a Saturnalia trick, like a witchcraft thing.
So it's been a minute since I've reviewed the information, so I don't really recall it that well.
Well, but now you started by saying you wish you didn't know what Christmas was, but you're glad you know when Christmas is because it reminds you to do the little dance around the tree or whatever the hell you do. I don't know what you do.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm pagan like most people are Jewish. You know what I mean? Like my wife is really into it, and I just kind of do some stuff whenever she tells me I have to.
I'm hot and cold. I know I'm complaining. All I'm doing is complaining here, but I'm hot and cold. I was freezing 2 minutes ago. Now I'm sweating. Anyway,
right. Old age is getting to you.
The Ramadan thing you did yesterday, you posted a couple of videos on it. It looked like you were having fun.
I was having a blast. I'm going to tell you this. I'm not even kidding when I say this. This weekend, as a whole, for me, because there was a lot of stuff that happened this weekend.
Don't call yourself a whole.
Yeah, but this weekend, probably top 10 experiences of my life.
Wow.
Yeah, like it was a phenomenal time. Supercon was amazing. I can't wait to be more involved in it next year. It's an all volunteer based con. Like nobody is getting paid to work that con. That's all volunteer stuff.
It's a non-pro con.
Yes, it is. It's a non-pro con. Yes.
Well, kudos to me for even being able to come up with that on this. I'm on my deathbed. If
Yeah,
people don't,
you
if
with your
people just
cloudy sick head, and you still did it. Way to
yeah,
go!
people are just tuning in. I'm about to pass away, which would be good for the ratings.
Stop
Continue to
speaking that
watch.
into existence, my friend. I want you to be here a
Listen,
long, long time.
if I could speak things into existence, a lot of people wouldn't be broke today, and the Jets would have won.
Okay, so I mean, I know I get your resistance to, you know, I'm not saying you. What I'm saying is words have energy.
If they
You
did,
know what I
then
mean?
why didn't the Jets win?
Because not enough people give a fuck about the Jets. You got to
Oh,
have
I disagree.
collective
You should.
collective energy. You see?
Oh, that's not true. Artie Lang said, I was watching Artie Lang last night. He said, when I was young, I was into the Jets, and then I got into girls, and then I got back into the Jets. You know why? Because sometimes a girl won't fuck you. The Jets will always fuck you.
Yeah. That's a good one. By the way, thank you for that comparison or whatever, because I was going to bring it up the other day when I saw it, but I saw you like on a comment or something. You said that I was your Artie Lang,
I
and
did say that.
yeah, you did say it. I think you said it in the comments on the Last Rights podcast. And thank you very much for saying that. I accept that position. No problem.
All right.
I opened for him years ago at Nitwich Comedy Club. I was the house MC when he came to town. And this guy named Jeremy Essig was the feature, and we all went out to eat after the show, because that was one of the things that I did in the early days, is that when there was a headliner in town, if they were willing, I broke bread with them. Like I broke bread with Alex Hooper this week, and you bet your biffy. And we'll talk about a little about that maybe if you want to. But so Artie Lang, me and Jeremy, and my girlfriend at the time, which happens to be my son's mother. So we're sitting there, right? And Jeremy says to me, well, hey, I want to, since you're new, I want to test your comedy knowledge, And so this is after the show. And he says, so I just kind of want to get a gauge for where your sense of humor level is. What do you think my funniest joke was tonight? Right. And this is a feature that's asking me this. Right. And so I ponder it for a second, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to say that short bus joke you did. That was probably the funniest thing. And he's like, what? The short bus, joke. What are you talking? That makes me think that you shouldn't even do comedy. That's a hack joke. How can you say that a hack joke is the funniest thing I said all night? You have no idea what's funny.
Whoa.
Yeah, he does. He freaks out on me a little bit, right? And I said, but me, I said, well, let's think about it a second. The reason that you said that joke was because all during your set, it was like this half of the room would laugh and then this half of the room wouldn't, and vice versa. And that half would change and flip flop. But the only time you got the whole crowd at the same time is when you did that short bus joke. Therefore, making it the funniest thing you said all night. So, if the funniest thing you said all night was a hack joke, maybe you're the one that shouldn't be the comedian.
Oh.
And this dude gets super fucking flustered. And then he pops up. He's like, I got to go make a phone call. And he darts off. And Artie Lang leans over to me and goes, you got him there, kid.
Oh, man. So you know what? You are a bigger celebrity than Carl Mann now. Because listen, Carl opened for he didn't open for Doug Stanhope. Doug Stanhope was the host who brought him up. And right. Carl opened for Billy Wayne Davis. You fucking blow that away you opened for Artie Lang. You're way bigger than Carl.
But it was in the basement in Sioux Falls, and I'm sure
Carl was in a fucking trailer park.
Oh, all right.
Fuck Carl. He's off the show.
I mean, dude,
A-list celebrity around here.
Nitwits was actually a really legit club. Nitwits was known for bringing in a good, solid acts. I opened for Chris Porter back in those days. He's the reason I do One Nut Jokes. We were talking between shows, and like just in personal conversation, I told him that I only had one testicle, and he chided me for not using it in my routine. He was like, dude, that's comedy gold. You got to use that stuff.
That's gold, Jerry. Gold.
Yeah, yeah. I opened for Bobcat Goldthwait down there once.
Wow.
You know,
that's Bobcat is off the charts big.
Oh, now, he's so good too, and one of the nicest celebrities I had a chance to work with. But I mean, yeah, I got to do some cool shit. See, that's why when people trip on me, that's why I don't give a fuck. When people trip on me about not, what my career doesn't look like, listen, bro, I know some of the shit I've done. I know the stages I've rocked. I don't give a shit what people say when it comes to that regard. Like, I don't question my talent or my ability. I do question how much I've given a fuck over the last 2 or 3 years.
Well,
but
I don't question either of those.
Thank you.
But I do question your decision making.
Oh no, yeah, man. And that has been a lifelong problem. I just want to let you know.
I know that. This is why we had a thing, because I was like, yes. You know what, you've made some pretty bad choices, and you're pretty stubborn when you make up your mind to do something. You're going to do it your way.
In a really bad way.
I know. Yeah. Believe me, and I feel you, man.
That's got to be that.
I'm the same way. Your buddy Jordan, Jordan Peterson, your buddy.
Yeah.
Last night he said something that was really rang true with me, and he said, one thing to do is to ask yourself, what is the one thing I could change? I know I'm doing wrong in my life, and I could change, and I would change, and think about that, because that's your priority. That's what, I know I got that going on, and I should be really. My problem is I'm not willing to change. I would, when that part you would change, I know even if I know it's right, I'm too fucking stubborn within myself to actually make those changes. Anyway, we have guests today.
Yeah,
two guests, film guests, and the first one is not just a filmmaker and somebody who studied film, but an author of a book about it's like a classic, almost like one of those Brat Pack type things. No, not right. I'm trying to find ways to describe it. It's about movies, about the movie industry, but breaking in, and that's the title of it. Breaking In is the name of the book, and he's here now. And we're going to get to him quickly. I know we have news. We have a big day. Reverend Jelly Roll wants to come in and do a healing prayer for me, which I would really appreciate and probably need. But
you do need it.
Yeah, I do need it. But I want to get to our guests first. Now, I got to find the three, because we have a threesome going on here. Tyler Schweike.
Is it a male threesome? Awesome.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
I'm probably getting divorced now. I just want to let you know that.
That's fine. You'll celebrate Saturnalia by yourself. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure that she has this feeling that if I have sex with a dude, it's over.
Okay, don't go that way. And you know what? I don't know. I'm not going to make this joke. Tyler Schweike is a writer and filmmaker. He holds an MFA. MFA? Who you calling an MFA? From Hamline University, and his short stories have been widely published. He is a graduate of New York Film Academy and Minnesota State University Moorhead, where he was awarded Minnesota Film and TV Grant. A Minnesota Film and TV Grant. Several of his award-winning short films have played at festivals across the country. Tyler lives in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is a bad decision making right there, with his wife and his dog. The dog is a good decision. Breaking It is his debut novel. He's here now. Let's welcome in Tyler Schweike. Tyler, welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. You got to make the joke, though. Hold on. But you said you weren't going to make the joke. You went on with the intro. I need to hear the joke. What's the joke?
No, you don't. No, you don't. I have to.
He gets
Yeah,
enough hate mail.
let me just say that I'm delirious and filled with all sorts of disease in my head, so nothing is coming out right. So don't pay attention to anything I said.
All right.
Anyway, that's better. Now I'm gonna get freezing cold. I'm hot and cold. I'm an old man and I'm dying. I know. Anyway, thank you for being here, Tyler.
Thanks for
It's
having me.
early. It's early in the morning for you, right?
Kinda. It's like 8:15,
Yeah,
8:20.
he's Central Time.
Yeah.
All right. Let's start off with passion. What is it? Is it writing or is it filmmaking? You can't have two.
I think it's just storytelling. I think, it kind of depends upon the medium and, how you want to present that story. And, there certainly are ideas I have that are tucked away that I think will only really come to fruition through movies. I think that, um, so movies are obviously a visual medium. And I think there's a lot of time where when you have your characters and how you want to present them, do you want to give a full 360 view of everything about them, their internal dialogue, when
Right,
you're
right,
presenting them, or when you have, characters. And I think characters, when with maybe good hearts but are making poor decisions, sometimes those come through a little bit better on screen. I think the actor, you can kind of like connect with the actor and see the decisions that they're making. I mean, this is an obvious one, but I think of somebody like, Breaking Bad, right? Bryan Cranston, and he's making all these just, terrible decisions, and he's slipping away into like this, and I think that's hard. I think that would be harder to get out through um, in fiction, like in a novel kind of form. I think, sometimes you probably wouldn't connect with somebody as much as you can when you see the decisions that they're making. You're seeing
right,
how they're, you know, it's inflicting on them. And for him, right, for
right,
Walter White, it destroyed him essentially,
right.
and it wasn't for, it's been a while since I watched, but Jesse Pinkman, he's the one that finally like has this realization, like shit, I got to get out of here.
Right.
I want to live. I want a different life. And I think that's hit and miss if you do that kind of in novel form. I mean, certainly writers do that, but for me, I think it's more interesting if you get an actor with a real talent that can um, display that. So the long answer to you, it depends on the story. Right now, I'm really focusing on novels. That's where I've had some recent success. I've really enjoyed the novel form. I think that, so for breaking in, thank you for putting it up there. This is something where it really is heavily influenced by movies. Some of that are blatant. So Breaking In is the story about a film student who gets her film script stolen from her by her favorite director. He makes the movie without her. The way that the film school that she goes to is set up, he can legally do this, and he doesn't have to give her any credit. But
Right,
he throws her 20 grand in hush money to say, just go away,
man.
just leave us alone. Just go do something else with your life. She's 17, right? She's young, she's impressionable. This is her hero, and he's telling her to, you know, go back to North Dakota where she's from, go to college, have babies. This isn't for you. And
Those
instead of just
Dakotas are always a bad thing. I would never
Yeah, yeah.
recommend you.
Avoid
you
the
know,
Dakota. Matter of fact, Alex Hooper would tell you that. Avoid the Dakotas at all costs.
it's not terrible advice. But so
Those are
she's
your
so
neighbors.
they are my neighbors, and I say that with love. But yeah.
Uh,
But anyway, so she takes that 20,000 of hush money, and she decides to take her film crew, makes them a heist crew, and they steal the movie 3 days before the premiere and hold it blackmail.
is
Um,
that common? Is that I mean, the idea of, because she went to the film school that you
it's
went
not.
to, right?
It's very similar to the one that I went to. My school, it's not common necessarily for. I mean, it's not common for a teacher to steal your script and make it make it themselves. That's pretty uncommon. There certainly are when it comes to, this is what the writer's strike in part was about: is who has the rights, who gets
Right.
credit for it. So I can tell you traditionally how writers get paid. When they have a movie or they have a television series, so it goes into syndication, they get a percentage of that. I don't know how streaming works at all. And I think a lot of writers don't know how it works either because
You
they don't
know
get
who
a lot of
doesn't know?
credit.
You know who really doesn't know? The accountants for the streaming companies really
Sure.
don't know. Well, because the rules aren't really in concrete at all, and however you can cut corners and rip people off. You talk about Hollywood accounting, Spotify and Hulu and all these companies that do streaming of media in general, music and films or whatever. They are just the most criminal corporations and looking for ways to rip off artists all day long. That's
Right.
all they do, and they're
Yeah.
trying to invent new ways. So
There's a
Yeah.
lot of
And
red tape and there's a lot of just not kind of policy, and this is the way to go. So, that happens quite a bit. What happens in my book is a rare occurrence, and that's why kind of played around with that. Plus, then this way I got to take a film student who has nothing but heist movie knowledge, and try to apply that to real life. And sometimes it works out for her, and sometimes it doesn't. And that's kind of where the fun lies.
uh, everything is storytelling, though. Everything in entertainment is storytelling in one way. Even a mime is storytelling. Songwriters are storytelling. Comedians are
Absolutely.
storytelling.
Hmm.
yeah.
Uh, Funny that we should start there because at 3:30 this morning I was awakened by the angel of death. It was over my bed, and he said, "Turn on Facebook and watch reels." And I said, "Okay, I guess that's how I'm gonna die." And I turned it on, and the first thing that came up was this guy talking about, "I love this lens," and he starts talking about this lens and what the value of that lens is. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, he's a film guy, and I'm looking for why that, and he basically does this minute and a half on this lens, and then he says the lens isn't important. What you watch this and you're listening to me about the lens, and the lens means nothing. It's all about storytelling. And he said, and then he brought up the phone, and now this
Hmm.
is supposed to be a 60-second reel, and it's going on for minutes. It's like 5 minutes now.
Oh yeah,
You
they're
know,
long now. Some of them.
yeah, and he's talking
Yeah.
about how to act. He said a small percentage of people who want to make films actually make money from them, and it's
Hmm.
not. It's all about the gear now. People get caught up in gear, and it's all about the storytelling. If you want to make money, and we were selling a course, but it was just nailing home that idea that it's all about the storytelling. Don't get caught up in all the other bullshit, the gear, how you're going to fund it, and all that stuff. Finding all that is important, but at the end of the day, you're a storyteller, and you gotta concentrate on compelling stories that people want to hear or that you believe they need to hear. And to me, maybe it's because I was near death's door at the time. It was like very inspirational. I got,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm gonna get up the first thing in the morning. I'm gonna kind of start to get my book together because I've been writing 2 books together for the last
Sure.
7 years. But so talk about that. The from filmmaking perspective
Hmm.
of the importance of knowing all the kind of how movies get made, but not getting caught up into it where it distracts you from the story, the reason you're creating the film in the first place.
Yeah. So kind of what you're talking about, right? Is there are so many different tools and kind of tricks and stuff, and independent film is a totally different beast than it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, right? I
Sure.
think about like kind of the independent movie boom of like the 90s, right? And that's where we got Reservoir Dogs, that we got El Mariachi, we got Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Now, these were movies that were still made on film. They were on the cheap, from a budget perspective compared to at the time the big movies like Jurassic Park, Forrest Gump, right? You have a lot of
Right.
special effects, that kind of thing. And today, you have movies like was I forget the director's name, but the Florida Project, Tangerine, and he makes all his movies on iPhones, and they are about characters. The Florida Project, if you've seen that, it's about a sex worker and her, I believe it's her son, that live in a motel outside of Disney World, and just trying to struggling to make it. And it's a real intimate, um, kind of tale about the riches, different society, class society is what I'm trying to get at, right? So you have,
Right.
through their eyes, they see, everybody from around the country coming to Disney World, spending all this money on merchandise, going there, to the theme parks, and they're living in a motel, the two of them
Yeah.
barely struggling to make things meet. And all you have is an iPhone. It's incredibly effective because you're on your subjects, right? The camera's up close to them. We can see, their emotion. And so when you're talking about all these like really cool, things that we can utilize for film, it doesn't matter if you're shooting on, like a IMAX camera like Christopher Nolan or an iPhone. If what you're putting in front of that camera doesn't matter, it doesn't have a character that has a
Right.
desire, right? You have to have an objective for every single character. What is it they want out of life? What is it that they want out of the scene? What's missing? And these are all elements the audience discovers through film. So when you talk about these different, kind of tools and stuff, it shouldn't be, okay, this is what I have at my disposal. What story could I tell with this? This is my story. What are the best tools to utilize to tell that, to convey to the audience? But first and foremost, you should always start with that full story. And stories really start with characters. I think about, why is somebody like a Quentin Tarantino, why is he super popular? Why has he only made 9 movies, but all of them have been a success, except for Death Proof, which I actually like. But I think Death Proof, let's pick on that for a minute. The reason why that's not his strongest movie, and by a lot of people himself says this too, is because those are probably his weakest characters. It's his weakest dialogue. His main character is a stuntman who uses his car to kill people and
Right.
doesn't really get a whole lot of like introduction to his backstory or anything like that. But then, like, you think of his latest movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I think is vastly overrated. That's just a movie. That's just a cool like hangout movie. You put it on, you just kind of watch. You can pick up at any moment, and I think that's because of the performances, specifically, Brad Pitt and DiCaprio, and they are playing these layered characters. It's a cool
Yeah.
setting, right? It's the 70s in Hollywood.
Yeah.
He moves the camera a lot. It looks visually,
Right.
incredible. But I think it's the characters that you just want to hang out with and see, like DiCaprio. He was this big shot on TV, and now he's playing the guest role, and he's breaking down as the heavy. He's crying in his trailer.
Yeah.
He's trying to get his act together. That's hysterical. That's such a great scene.
Right. Because it's
again,
relatable.
It's so relatable, and it's relatable to the fact that, like, I don't know if any 3 of us, I certainly haven't. I've never been on set, messing up my lines, stalling the day on a Western. I don't know that, but I know what it's like to have people depend on you. I know what it's like to slow everybody up because I'm not doing my job properly and feeling frustrated and upset
Oh
about it
my
and
God, that's
wanting to
hell.
wanting to get my act together.
Right.
So, those are the things that are what makes cinema stories interesting.
The emotion behind the story.
Emotion, totally, 100%.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just making a commercial. I
Yeah.
think when you have those tools and stuff, that's fine when you're looking at what the commercial. But even the best commercials tell a story too.
Oh, he's popping back in again. Well, sometimes I don't know what happens. He pops out. He'll be back now. If you don't mind me saying, because I've interviewed so many authors, and almost everyone wants their film, their book to be made into a film.
Yeah.
Seems like you're kind of maybe not in. You're a film guy who prefers to write novels right now. Have you written a screenplay, and would you? Is this your intent now or hope to make this into a film?
Yeah, so I have not written this into a screenplay yet. I would love for this to be a movie or a series. And yes, I think every aspiring author or author out there, I would love to see that. From my point of view, because this book is so heavily influenced by movies, by heist movies specifically, and it's kind of a modern interpretation of teenagers fighting against the kind of the Hollywood system, but it's makes references to a lot of the 50s noir heist movies like Asphalt Jungle, The Killing, League of Gentlemen, even up to, you know, Dog Day Afternoon, and kind of taking those elements and putting them into like kind of a fresh spin on them. So I think it would make a really fun movie, really fun series. You know, at this point, I'm not getting too caught up in that because just for me, I'm just working on the next project. I'm working on the next book. Right now, I'm getting that into um, kind of fighting form for my agent to submit that over to the publisher, and then kind of keep going from there. And I think if you know sit and worry too much about about one project and what's happening with it, you could drive yourself nuts, right? It's good to stay busy and to continue to have new projects. But yeah, I would love to see. I would actually love to see what a filmmaker could do with this, and just kind of like watch and observe. Like, yes, I am a filmmaker. I've never made like a big, you know, Hollywood movie or anything. You know, I've made, you know, independent short films. So for me, I think it would just be really interesting and fun, to be honest, to watch like a bigger studio, um, you know, to work with them, and then to see. I would love to work on the script, and then but to see like a director with a few films under their belt to see what they could do with it and just watch that process, I think would be really interesting for me, and that's what I hope for. But I think there's, you know, one of the reasons why I chose the heist genre to kind of mess around with is because I think when you're a filmmaker, and you're making your first film, a lot of filmmakers will go one of two ways. Well, there's like three options, right? You make a horror movie. You make a horror movie because it's cheap and you have a built-in audience. I think the second alternative one that doesn't people don't realize as much is a lot of people make a heist movie for their first, or a crime movie, because there's a built-in audience there. So Wes Anderson, his first movie was a heist. Quentin Tarantino again. Michael Mann, his first movie was Thief. That's a heist movie. The Wachowskis went on to make The Matrix. They got their start with Bound, which was a heist movie from the 90s. Um, so for me, that's why I chose this. Was okay, there's a built-in audience. People you know, they know what a heist movie consists of, but I can mess around with that formula, you know, kind of put my own spin on it. And same thing, I think that would be fun for a movie as well. There's an audience there, but they want a fresh take. And then the third option I was going to say for filmmakers is just trying something completely different, and either you find an audience or you don't.
Wow. I could have I was I was anticipating the third one being like I don't even know how you would describe it, but just one of those stupid comedies that, you know, there were for a while there were just like we were inundated with dumbed down comedies, like stupid
Yeah,
comedies.
like all the Hangover movies and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and those aren't, yeah, I mean, you get a lot of those. That's really rare for like a director to make that their first movie, would be like, unless they had a star. Now, of
Right.
course, there's an
Right.
asterisk. There's an asterisk, right, to every rule. So immediately I think about Napoleon Dynamite, and that was that guy's first movie, and that was kind of a stupid comedy, which actually holds up pretty well. My wife and I just watched it like 3 weeks ago, and there's like different elements that are funny now than there was in the past. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Where I am, people are obsessed with mafia. Everybody wants to make The Godfather again or something like that. But that's a reflection of the culture that I live in.
Sure.
So it's just interesting. But it's kind of interesting that you would like to see a movie made by the Beast, Hollywood, because we already talked about how corrupt they are and how they really. You know, that strike was over really power and you know, their abundance of power and the artist's lack of power. Erica Rhodes, when she was on this program, we were talking about, she said, what is Hollywood? Hollywood now is a guy in his garage with, you know, with an idea and good equipment. That's what Hollywood. And I think, I don't know, the idea of the independent is so much more attractive to me, even though the part that, if you go that way, the odds are pretty good that nobody's ever going to see it. I mean, how do you get it out there? How do you get it marketed and all that stuff?
Well, I think that's not totally true anymore, because you have so many streaming options, right? So a lot of those movies, you know, they wouldn't find distributors, and so they wouldn't go into theaters. So that's why they wouldn't be made in the first place. Is so many of those independents, even though they were considered independent, they would already have theater interests, right? Distribution, you know, they would have somebody And that's why everybody would go to, like, the Cannes Film Festival and Sundances to sell it, and they're still doing that, but it's such a different market now where you have Netflix buying the majority of these streaming movies, right? And so there actually are more options. So I guess when I say, like the Hollywood system, I don't necessarily 100% mean, like Warner Brothers or Universal Studios.
Right. Yeah.
Um, at the same time, it depends who makes that. I think that there are some extremely talented, big name directors that are doing stuff in the Hollywood system. Like well, so we talked about Chris Nolan. This isn't a movie for Chris Nolan, right?
Right.
This just doesn't fit under his thing. But I mean, there are plenty of people that could make it work, or just somebody, like a production company, and then make it on their own, make it with their own rules, and then sell it to like a streaming site or to a studio for distribution. So I would love to see it, in a theater, but that's also in some ways still kind of an old school idea. I think
Yeah.
streaming is really coming up, and clearly, and I don't know. I think that would be interesting to see.
Yeah. If I ask you who would play Millie in the movie,
Yeah.
would you want, because as an author, I think I'd want to leave that up to the reader to kind of picture who they would in that role. But I think as
Yeah.
an author, I would have that in my mind even when I started writing it. Would you want to say, first of all, and then if you do want to say, who is it?
Sure. I So just real quick, it's interesting you point, leaving it up to the audience, because so right now there's an image of my book on the screen,
Right.
and you can see where the camera is. And an earlier draft of that, they actually had somebody they had a model that had just of her face, right, and that was supposed to be Millie, and I was like, I don't think that's what Millie looks like, and I don't want the reader to think that's what she looks like. I want to take it off the cover, let them decide what she looks like.
Great decision, by the way.
Yeah, I just think it's all I don't overly describe my characters because I find that kind of boring when I'm reading
Right.
the book. I'm kind of like, let me do it. Let me do the lifting, right? Tell me the specifics I need to know so they stand out from the other characters, but I'll
Right.
fill in the blanks. So having said that, I think that there is a couple different actresses that would be really fantastic. I think Maya Hawke would be really great. She's Ethan's Hawke daughter. She's from Stranger Things. She was in the new Wes Anderson movie that came out. She's really great. She's really expressive. The way that Millie is written, she has really kind of wide eyes. So I like that perspective.
Daddy's
Or
girl.
Kath.
Yeah,
Well,
daddy's girl. All right.
yeah.
Fucking, I knew you were chomping at the bit for him. Man. I could just tell, dog.
I think I'd like to direct her. Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I mean,
we're back in the sewer. Get out of the gutter.
Yeah.
I can't help it. I can't help it. I live in the gutter.
So yeah, that's interesting because I would, as writing it, I would have that person, and I understand that everybody's process is different. Now, being an author, you're going around doing book signings and promotional stuff. Is this work for you, or is this fun? I mean, not this. I mean, the general.
This is work. Right now, this is work. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's fun. It's absolutely fun. So much of what being a writer, a novelist, I'm sure it's same with movies or novellas if that's what you're writing. But I mean, it's so much like this room I'm in, this is where I write, right? So to my left here, I've got my board for my next book, my next project. I have notepads, over here. You can't see them on screen. I mean, this is where I am 99% of the time with my writing. So
Wow.
getting out to go and meet people that have read the book, that are promoting it, that love it. That's super fun. So that's absolutely been fun. I've done a couple book signings. It's just cool, like telling what you're what the plot is, what the characters are about, and seeing people go like, "Oh, that sounds awesome! Yeah, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna give it a try." They don't know who I am. I'm a debut author. Does everybody do that? No. Sometimes they're like, "Oh, okay, cool. Well, good luck," and then they, they keep moving, and that's amusing, and it keeps you humble. But no, it's absolutely fun. It's a lot of fun.
Because on your website, there's one, and I haven't watched the film, but the video clip here. You're at North Dakota today, and it
Yeah.
looks like one of these.
Looks
You're
like
at
a
like
home shopping network.
a
Yeah,
cooking bar, yeah, or
yeah,
it looks like that too. But
yeah.
where in the morning shows where they have a cooking segment and the guys on,
Yeah.
you're there with like a stack of books instead of like a frying pan or something.
Yep.
It's just like, it looks like a very interesting type of, good for you. I mean, it's NBC television, so
Yeah,
that's
it was,
great exposure.
it was interesting. It was set up. A friend of my wife's saw, so I was doing a book signing, and she saw my wife's story on Instagram, that I was doing it, and she was one of the hosts for North Dakota Today. So she said, have him come on the show and promote it. And so I didn't really know. I'd never seen the show. I didn't really know what to expect. And I was told it was going to be like a 3-minute segment. So I just come out there, briefly describe the book. And it was 9 minutes,
Yeah,
and they had me do a reading. Um, they asked me all these questions. So at one point, like around I haven't watched it just because I don't like watching myself. I mean, I was there. I know what happened. I don't, so I don't
yeah,
watch it. I don't listen to the podcast that I'm on. I remember the conversations, but so probably like around the 6-7 minute mark, I think that like I'm like ready to stop. So I actually like say
yeah,
something like, "Well, thank you so much for having me on. This is great." And she's like, "Yeah." So my next question, like they keep going, and I was like, "Oh my god!" So yeah,
yeah.
it was a long interview. So that was kind of interesting, but it was fun. It was a different, I reached a different audience, and then they got to hear about the book. So that's
What
cool.
about book signings? Have you done any book signings yet?
I've done 3 so far. Yeah.
And
So that's been good. So one of them was like one. So they all were ones I knew like of in advance, right? So I could like promote it and tell people. So the first one was here in Minneapolis, and that was the book coming out. My publisher through that. So there's a lot of family and friends. There were some readers, that had never heard of me that came, but for the most part, I knew that people were going to show up, right? The other two, I had no idea if people were going to show or not. And it was a lot of them just normal traffic in that bookstore. And basically, I'm at a table, just holding up my book, smiling, and I'm selling snake oil at this point, right? I promise.
That's why I asked if it was fun or it was work, because there's a whole you're an author, you're first and foremost you were a filmmaker, you went to school for film, and then you became an author, and then your passion is towards writing the book, writing the story, getting people to read the story. You didn't sign up to be a snake oil or
Right.
salesman dropping in from town to town and
Yeah.
doing all the marketing and sales pitch. That's not what you signed up for.
It's not what I signed up for.
Part of it.
It's definitely part of it. And I think I just, I don't know. People ask, like, do you get nervous? Like, was I nervous before going on North Dakota Today, being on TV? And I wasn't, for 2 reasons. Number one, because I already agreed to go on. So what's the point of being nervous? And two, my wife said, well, because I was like, what is North Dakota Today? She's like, well, it's mostly like TV that's on like in the back room at like dentist office. And I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
So like people aren't like, they're not, there's not like a million people tuning in, and a lot of it just goes onto their website and people watch it that way. But so
Right.
no, it's not something that like ideally, but it is part of the process to get, and that's how I continue to be able to sell more books. Is I have to sell this one. I have
Right.
to get
Yeah.
out there. So it's just something where it's like I know this is part of it, and I think for me it helps to, I've seen on like social media, and I've read about authors that go somewhere and like nobody shows up, right? And they don't sell a
Right.
single book.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky I haven't had that happen yet. I know it's going to happen. It happens to everybody, and just kind of like, okay, that'll be part of it too, and whatever, right? You show up, you do your part, and then it just plays out however it does.
I guess.
And
Right.
I think so. That's just, yeah. But and then I think also is, I didn't ask for this part, but I asked to be an author. I asked to have a publication,
Right.
so I did sign up for this.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, but you don't realize. Maybe you did. Maybe you had enough pre-thought put into it that you. But most people who write books, they don't. That doesn't occur to them until the
Right.
last word is written, and then okay, what do I do now? And that's where it gets really. Oh my God, this is work I didn't want to do. I'm not. I didn't say I didn't want a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it definitely does become like a second job, or if
Right.
it's not your first one. And this isn't my my main job. I have a day job, and I guess between my my day job's great. But yes, this is my passion, so I don't mind getting out there. Plus, like I said, it's fun to talk to people and kind of tell them what it's about. And my book is
Almost a little bit of Canadian there. I heard that.
oh,
About.
I'm Minnesotan, so it
Yeah.
slips out every now and then.
That
It's going
about.
to. Yeah.
I love the Canadian about. A boot.
So
You wearing a boot.
yeah, but just like talking to different people, and when they light up, they're like, "Oh man, that does sound awesome." I'm gonna give it a
Yes.
try. That's exciting. That's super
And
exciting.
yeah, kudos to you for knowing to let go of the outcome, because you're 100% right. The beauty is in the creation. You know what I mean? And then the times where you get somebody that is just totally lit up over what you created, like that makes those times where you might show up and nobody's there, like like that shit doesn't matter in the overall, because you know that you're really affecting others. You know what I mean? Like,
100%. No, I think
good
that's.
job.
Thank you. No, and that's when you create something, the idea isn't for everybody to love it, right? I think if you have 100% of people are like, yeah, nobody's going to like 100% love everything.
Right.
If you reach that many people, it's probably going to be pretty vanilla, right? It's going to be okay. It's fine. I'd rather 30% of the world to go, this book is totally for me. I love
Right.
this. It's right in my alley. And the other 70 go, kind of a thing. So, so it's fun getting out there, and it's written as, it's a thriller, it's a comedy. Those are the parts that people are really loving about the book, is the humor. So that's always cool to hear. But yeah, it's just like it's talking to those individuals one-on-one. And my last book signing, there was a girl 15. She was kind of shy. She came up with her dad. She was intrigued by the cover. I told him about it. The dad was like, well, that's you, you want to be a filmmaker. She wants to go to film school. She wants to make movies. And,
Right.
so like, that was so cool that like she discovered this book, and,
Right.
I hope she gets something. I hope she enjoys it. I hope she loves
And
it.
maybe she'll be a little careful about who she shares the script with and the ideas
Right.
with.
Maybe it'll be
Right.
a cautionary tale. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like things like that. That's just super fun for me, to be
Yeah.
able to do that.
Very cool. Now people can find out more at your website. Now, is it Schwanky or Schwank? It's got
Neither.
It's not?
Yeah, it's okay. It's a hard one. It's Schwanky. So it's like
Schwanky.
It's like Schwan's ice cream with a key. So Schwanky.
He
Okay.
probably has no idea what Swan's ice cream is. That is so
No,
Minnesota of you.
Is that pretty? Is that
No,
a
I
deep
don't.
cut?
You're right. I don't.
West? Okay.
Swan's is a refrigerated delivery service that goes house to house
It is.
with many ice cream treats and sometimes like microwavable snacks and stuff like that. They're actually pretty good, but yeah, it's pretty much just a Midwest
That's a deep
thing,
cut. Good to know. I
You're
appreciate
so
that.
you're so worldly, Will.
I've been around, dog. I've been around the block.
So the link is in the description. People can go there, but it's also going across the bottom of the screen right now. Very cool website, by the way.
Thank you.
And we wish you good luck and thanks for coming here. Before I let you go, are you a Vikings fan?
Yeah, by default, right? That doesn't mean I like Cousins. I was getting real excited about this. There's some rumblings about trading him to the Jets, and I know it was just tall tales, but I was like, yeah, man, let's get rid of. I haven't liked Cousins since he started here. So I am. It was good to see a win yesterday, but we played. It was against Carolina, and honestly, I wanted Thielen to do better, so I was happy with his catches. But yeah, I'm a Vikings fan.
Very cool. I will hate the Vikings, so that's why I brought it up.
I'm a Bears fan, but it's a terrible year for us.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
it's so bad.
Anyway, we do appreciate you stopping by and sharing your information about the book. If when you do your next book, please feel free to come back, and we'll do our best to help you promote it. We'll put it on the website. We'll put this book in the newsletter and let people know about it. Thank you for coming this morning, Tyler, and have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Bye for now. All right, I got to take all this stuff out. I'm going to bring in Reverend Jelly Roll, not your Jelly Roll.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, I know. I mean, not that. I mean, I get it. It's cool.
Yeah. Good morning, Reverend.
Nice.
Good morning, my brother Matt and brother William. Morning.
Morning. Namaste.
So this day is basically just trying to get Will to be able to stand over my grave and say, "I told you not to say you were dying." That's all. That's my
Well, Brother Will is half right. Words do have energy and power, so you do need to be careful about what you say and what you ask for, because somebody may give it to you, and it may not be the way you want it. So
Well, okay, I would like $1 million.
And you may get $1 million, but it may be like in coins and rammed up your ass. So you just have to be careful.
You gotta.
That's what I'm saying. But you'll be getting your $1 million is what I'm saying, but it'd be very painful.
Okay.
Reverend Jelly Roll would be a terrible genie.
Very true.
So, can you help me? Are you prepared to say a healing prayer for me?
I'm always prepared. I don't know if the Lord is always willing to hear me, but I'm always prepared to ask. So here's the deal. Let me start off. First of all, let me get my holy water out for you. Good shit. Good shit.
Felt like somebody was jacking off on my face there. Not that I know the feeling.
That would be a Bobert, and that would be like
I'm sorry.
Beetlejuiced.
I'm sorry. This is a different kind of church. Will's church, they let me say that shit.
Oh yeah. Well, you say it here. There are no bad words, only bad intentions. So you can say whatever the fuck you want to say in here. So let me start off by saying, in the name of Robin Williams, George Carlin, and Richard Pryor, can I get a fuck yeah?
Yeah, fuck
yeah.
Okay.
All right. God of comedy, Lord of laughter, please heal our brother Matt Napo. No, not that one, the other one. That's Napo. Shit. Are you listening up there? Here we go. Lord, heal our brother Napo. And he wants to know which variant you have. It makes a difference, because if you have the first COVID, because if you have the first COVID, then we have to get our prayers from the lab. But if it's one of the variants, then it was the prayers that have evolved. So do you know which variant you have?
I have the future variant. It hasn't been here yet. I'm the originator of it.
You are the future, Doug.
Let me see here. Let's see what the good book says about that. Here we go. It says, what the fuck you doing traveling in the future without a condom? You stupid asshole! Why? You're doing going to the future without a condom. You don't know what you're going to bring back. That's what the book has to say about that. Sorry.
Guano.
So
bat shit. I know I got it from fucking a bat. And I couldn't help it. It was a hot bat. If you've ever seen this bat like in a bikini, you would probably fucking.
I have seen many of the Batgirl movies, and the capes. There's been a lot of
You guys are well.
Alicia Silverstone, I think, was Batgirl, wasn't she?
Reverend Roll is probably old enough to remember the original Batgirl from television.
I remember,
Yvonne Craig. One of my first crushes ever as a little kid. I think I learned to beat it to Batgirl. Maybe that's why I got
That's great.
Well, go ahead. You'll finish it. Finish the story. You know, you don't start off with a story about jacking off and not finish.
No, I was just thinking. I think I learned to beat it to Yvonne Craig, Batgirl. I would look forward. I'm not sure about that. It was either her or Bewitched, Samantha Stevens. One of them taught me about getting a hard on.
Barbara Eden was my sorceress of choice. Actually, she wasn't a sorceress, but she did perform a little magic with my wand.
We're going to be having him on soon. Peter Bales has been on I Dream of Jeannie, and I don't mean the show. He's been on I Dream of Jeannie. He's been on Jeannie. This is you know what? I don't care what you do in comedy, how high your career goes. That is it. That's how people will remember you. You fucking nailed Jeannie. I mean, in my generation, that was there's no higher achievement in life.
I mean, to be fair, didn't he nail retired Jeannie though? I mean,
no, she was 50. She was like 50, so she was still kind of hot. She was still,
oh, I'm sure she was. That I don't doubt. I don't doubt that.
I'm gonna tell you that. If I could say, Brother William, if I could just say, if I walked out in the street like right now, and right down the street from my house there's a basketball hoop, and I saw an ailing Michael Jordan, and I played him 1-on-1 and I beat him, I'm saying I'm beating Michael Jordan. I'm not saying I beat Michael Jordan at age 90.
Yeah, no, okay, fair.
Yeah. You cut out all the details and let the audience fill it in. You just finished.
Just give them what's needed. Yeah.
You just finished talking to an author who just told you let some of the audience picture some of the stuff. She leave out the detail that she's 50. You just talk about the fact who it is.
See, when I leave out details, my wife calls it lying by omission, so I get confused. You know what I mean?
Well, technically, it's only lying by omission if you're trying to deceive. If you're trying to achieve, it's a promo.
There you go. Polar Nights on Twitch. We very rarely get people on Twitch commenting or even watching on Twitch. It says, I love this. It's like the perfect evolution of beard growth from nothing to a little bit.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were talking about my gay friends. I was going to say, you did.
Oh, man.
Well, we appreciate this. Now, Reverend, you're going to be doing Sunday Mass. I don't even know. Do we call it Sunday sermon on channel?
The Church of Last Resort, and it is a sermon. There will be a sermon. It starts with a sermon. We will be healing people over the internets, and we will be taking their prayers and offering forgiveness. So it is like the Merv Griffin show with prayer and dick jokes, I guess. Oh. But those who don't know, you may not know who the Merv Griffin is, so you may have to Google it before you turn into my show. And also, if you're a true person of faith, you may want to leave your faith at the door because it's going to get there. It's going to get hurt.
Wow. Well, we look forward to that. I mean, I feel a little healed. I have to tell you that maybe this prayer this morning helped me a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's.
I think so. I think you look better. You look better already.
Do I?
Yeah.
I'm still cold sweat though. I'm still in a cold sweat.
It's the Genie talk. Once you start talking about Genie and Batgirl, the cold sweats are going to come, but they will go as well. So
she patted him on the head and said, "Let this be our one night to remember." He asked for a number, and she kind of gave him the little "Go away, little dog."
Oh, you're so cute. That's
you're not getting my phone number, dude.
Oh, you think this meant something? That's so nice.
That's so hard. Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you dropping in. We're gonna do the. Are we gonna do the news?
Yeah, we got news. I got news.
Reverend, would you like to hang around for the news?
Sure, I can do that. I have cleared my schedule until at least
it'll only take a minute. He's generally quick with the news.
Like his sex life. Okay,
yeah,
go
and
ahead.
you can comment on his news, but let me roll the intro first.
Yeah.
And now, the news. Mind dog news. You're muted, Will. Of course you're muted. Oh, now you're unmuted. Okay.
I did unmute it. Yes, Harry. Why is it? Are you on looping again? Is that?
Yeah.
What happened?
No, okay. We'll leave the screen like this for a minute.
Sure. Right. Harry Potter fans, you did get that picture, right?
Yes, the dog. You want me to bring it up now?
No. It'll be the last one. That'll be the last one. Harry Potter fans are mourning as Dumbledore has died. Sir Michael Gambon. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I don't know his last name. I'm not a Harry Potter fan. At 82, passed away after a bout with pneumonia. I'm pretty sure there's a spell for that. You must have forgot it. What?
I'm passing away from pneumonia.
You think that's what it is? Now it's pneumonia?
Well, I maybe. I've had pneumonia several times, and once you get it, you're prone to it. So maybe, but I'm sorry.
Okay. My grandmother had pneumonia and like 6 strokes, and she still lived. She was a tough old biddy. Anyway,
tougher than me.
Yeah, a listener-supported radio station in North Carolina is refusing to air syndications of Met opera performances.
The Mets sing?
Not
they play.
Yeah, no. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what it is. The Met.
You gotta have heart. All you really need is heart.
The the move is believed to be racially motivated, and that was exemplified by the station manager saying, "Yeah, we don't like that kind of talk around here."
Wow.
All right. All right.
Wait a minute. Oh no.
What?
All right. No, because the Mets are mostly Hispanic now. Anyway, I mean they call them the Los in New York. They're known as Los Mets. But we're not talking about the Mets. You're talking about Met.
The Met, yes.
Met,
you know, the
okay.
Performing Arts Center. You know.
Right. Yes.
But yeah.
All right.
They're more and more liberal, and North Carolina doesn't like that.
Okay, I got it.
All right. If you're looking for $1 billion payday, Powerball may be the answer. The jackpot for tonight's drawing is an estimated $1.04 billion. That's if you're patient, though. If you're an I want to be rich right now person, you'll have to settle for a mere $487.2 million. The Powerball has 30 consecutive drawings since the jackpot has been won. In NFL news, the Buffalo Bills showed us that the Miami Dolphins are indeed human. The Red Hot Dolphins were defeated yesterday 48-20. The Bears blew a 21-point lead, dropping their fourth straight game. If you're going to have to go see the Cubs if you want to see a W, basically. And Coach Andy Reid hit the 250 win mark by edging the Jets 23-20. And finally, in Grants, New Mexico high school news.
Oh, hometown.
Yeah, which I know everyone is just riveted to hear about. Right. Okay. A dog broke into the high school on Friday during the lunch period. Students fawned over the.
Are you sure that's a dog? Because it looks like a pig. It looks like a pig. No, I mean, look how fat it is. It's a huge. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, of course it's fat because all the students fawned over and fed the pup, the Great Pyrenees, until being picked up by its owner, who, by the way, was my wife. That's my fucking dog.
Are you
my
serious?
dog? Yeah, my dog broke into the school during the fucking lunch hour on Friday. It'd been missing. It'd been missing from the house for 2 days. My wife called me crying, last week because Fluffy had gotten out, and she, my niece, who we live with my sister and my niece, of course, and so my niece goes to the high school, and Fluffy ran right up to my niece when she saw her in the school, and that's how they knew to call my wife to come get her. But
that's a small town, man.
Well, and I mean, it is. I mean, I will say, like, the high school is a good at least 2 or 3 miles from our house for sure. But this is fate, bro. This is fate because Fluffy is a beautiful dog. She's a Great Pyrenees. She's like a huge, huge dog. She's not small by any means, right? And the students went bananas for her. So much so that they're talking about wanting to have the dog come back to the school. And so I think that I'm going to go when I get home and talk to the school district about bringing in Fluffy and maybe doing a talk about, life direction and decision making and, maybe allowing some kids to be a little more wise than I was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go try and do that when I get home.
We don't want the dog getting more famous than you.
I'm okay with that. I mean, she's a lovely dog.
But has she opened for Artie Lang? And Bob?
No, that's true. That's true.
There you go.
I mean, I just want to preface all those people that I've opened for. I was the club opener, and it's not like they brought me along.
No, shut up.
I mean,
we're trying to up the prestige level around here, and people don't need to know that. This is omission. It's deceit by maybe we could ask Reverend Roll for forgiveness for this, but we can deceive by not telling them. They don't need to know everything, do they?
I think this show is going to get very well known on its own merit. I think, and I don't think we have to embellish.
We have the only news guy in the history of broadcasting that has spent 10 years in jail, has one nut, has opened for Artie Lang and Bobcat Goldthwait. I mean, come on, who's got a news guy who's got all that on his resume?
That's true, and I sing, and he sings.
There's a small station in Kansas, in Wichita, Kansas, at only 27 people, but they have just that. And not only did he open for Artie Lang, he actually gave him a reach around in the studio. So
man.
Yeah, but bro, you have to go to Wichita, Kansas, that really small studio.
How did you?
I think it's called KRUB. I think it's K-Rub or something like that. I can't remember. I had to look it up in my book.
Reverend Jelly Roll, you are a man, and you have a connection to God. I'm telling you what, 100% you do. I'll prove it tomorrow. Because I didn't know why. Because I've done shows all around the Midwest and kind of the Southwest a little bit, okay, right? But the other day, like last week, somebody taught me something I didn't know about Google Maps, and that's that you can actually view like every place that you've been. Like you can go into your Google Maps, into your profile, and go to your places, and it'll show you all the places that you've been. Right?
Wow, that's
I don't understand what you're trying to prove.
Hang on.
He takes a long route to get to.
Long path to nowhere is where he's gone. I have no idea.
It's valid. I'm telling you, it's valid. Hang on, let me. I had to press.
You just said I had to prove. I didn't accuse you of anything. I was just answering Matt's question that there's one other station that did it. I didn't mention where you've been and how far you've gone. I don't care.
This is
your life.
You got the Reverend Ross fired up here.
Yeah, you're all the places all the places I've been. I was around before Google. There was no damn Google. If I want to,
no kidding.
I got to show you the holes on a map on the wall. So I got to get to my house.
Yeah, thumbtacks. Yeah.
Let's not. I don't want to have a map. A mapping contest. What do you call it?
No.
This isn't a gas mileage contest.
All right, finish your story.
Yeah, you're going the total opposite way of what I'm trying to say here. Like I know that you're from God because what you just said makes total sense. Makes total sense. Because on my map with all those red dots, there's not a fucking dot within 100 fucking miles of Wichita. Like you take the fucking center point of Wichita, I ain't been within 100 miles of that bitch, and that's because of this other motherfucker that's out there. It's got to be. Thank you. See, now I know the reason.
One Nut Nigel, who is the weatherman news guy for K-Rub. One Nut Nigel.
Nigel, I'm coming. I'm coming, Nigel.
Well, Rev, we got to say goodbye to you. I don't know if we're going to start this Sunday, probably the next Sunday, right? I think we'll handle that out.
I was promoting when I go out on stage to tell people October 8th. I could go back to the shows and knock on the clubs and say, "Excuse me, can I come in and just tell your audience I was here last week and I told them that I'd be on TV on the October 8th, but it'll be the 15th." I'm sure the clubs would just let me walk in the middle of a set and do that. Bookers are very patient that way, right?
It's easier to get to your computer than it is to actually get in your car and drive to church on Sunday morning. So we're expecting a big crowd for the Sunday morning show. So thank you for being here. We have to get to our next guest. So we'll say goodbye to you for now. Once again, Reverend Jerry Roll. It's 9 a.m. Sunday morning.
9 a.m. The Church of Last Resort.
Wow. What else would it be? All right. Thanks for the prayer. I might live. Thank you.
Thank you, brothers.
Bye for now. Reverend Jelly Roll. Let's do a quick commercial, and then we'll come back and we'll meet our second filmmaker of the day. How about that?
Heck
We'll talk
yeah.
about coincidences, man. I ain't buying coincidences anymore. I just don't think they're a thing. Anyway,
Yeah, man.
we're brought to you by True Fire. Learn to play guitar, will you? I mean, get on True Fire because we need the business. And we will be telling you about Creative Live sometime later in the week. But a new sponsor for creative people, even filmmakers and photographers and people like that. But for right now, we want you to learn how to play guitar from your favorite great guitar players. Here you go, True Fire.
Over 2 million guitar players worldwide learn, practice, and play with TrueFire. Our learning tools and massive library of video lessons will ignite your technical skills, harmonic knowledge, rhythm playing, and soloing chops. TrueFire's educators are the best in the biz, from Grammy Award winners to world-renowned artists. You'll have access to an unparalleled faculty of over 300 top-notch blues, rock, jazz, country, fingerstyle, and acoustic guitar educators. Using our desktop and mobile apps, you'll work with TrueFire's multi-angle video lessons on any device, anytime, anywhere. Integrated learning tools such as video synced tab and notation, slow-mo, looping, practice jam tracks, and many more handy controls accelerate your learning experience. TrueFire style-specific learning paths guide you every step of the way. Use our assessment tools to find your starting point, then follow our lesson recommendations and track your progress as you work through your personalized TrueFire study plan. Progress faster with private one-on-one instruction, group lessons, multi-track video jams, live streams, song lessons, student forums, TrueFire's Riff magazine, premium jam tracks, and much, much more. With thousands of 5-star ratings and reviews from amateur and pro players alike, you'll find yourself in good company with the world's most comprehensive guitar learning platform. Grab your guitar and ignite your musicality. Sign up free for an all-access trial
Grab your
today.
guitar, man. Grab it. Oh, yeah, we got this. I'm leaving this 3-screen up for a second. Grabbing your guitar to invite musicality, truefire.com. You know, yesterday at this gig, I was, I don't know if you're aware, but I've been on my deathbed expecting to die any day now. And I was I was on a gig yesterday in this country bar by myself. And they asked me to play this song. There was a memorial service in the bar for a guy who had passed away, and they asked me to learn this song. It's called "Give Heaven Some Hell."
Oh,
And
yeah.
The song is a little bit above my range to begin with, but I had to do it like an hour and 30 minutes into my set, and by that time, my
You're
voice
scratching your sore, yeah.
and I was really struggling to sing it well. And when there's nothing like pressure. People are there celebrating their dear, beloved friend who passed away, and you're singing this song about going to heaven and stuff, and you might die in the middle of the song. That's how I felt, and I just could not hit the notes. It was really embarrassing for me. Nobody complained, but at the end of the day, I felt like shit. Like I should have not done it, or I should have lowered the key. But here's the thing. The paranoia in me was like, somebody there is going to have perfect pitch and want to sing with me. And if I lower the key, they're going to be singing it in the regular key, and I'm going to be singing it a step lower, and it's just not going to work. And then everybody's going to be throwing people off. So I went for it. And man, my like you could see the veins popping out of my neck and everything. I was like screaming at the top of my lungs trying to hit the high notes. And then I wanted to come home and die. I felt so bad for it. Nobody complained, but it killing me. So, but if you point I'm making here, if you go to truefire.com, they'll teach you how to get around all those kind of things and transpose on the site and quickly, so you don't have to embarrass yourself and really ruin a memorial party. The other part of that is the line from that song. I was thinking about it all I know. It says one of the lines is, "I know you're way off up in the clouds." Where did that idea that when you die you go up into the clouds? Where do you think that idea ever came from? I mean, I know it's part of religion, but the first guy who thought that, like, you're dead. Oh, he must have went up there. Like, where did that thought enter the human consciousness? Like, oh, he must be up in the clouds. You know,
I mean, probably just the general senses of what people know about physics, would tell you that, like, if a gas escaped, you would expect it to go up. You know what I mean? Because,
well, when a
I think
fart, it
most
goes
people,
across the room to the nearest nose. If you let a fart out, it doesn't go up. It
right?
goes out. It
Well,
directs
yeah,
itself.
no, yeah, it like dissipates into the air, though. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
So that's
Yeah.
where you think that came from.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I'm just spitballing here, boss.
I know. It's good spitball, though. Oh, anyway, it's time to get
Seeing
to
what sticks.
we're late for our next guest. Last week we were talking about coincidences, and okay, today we have two filmmakers. Tomorrow we have two comedians, and again, people pick the dates on their own. I don't force dates on anybody; they pick the date. Today we had two filmmakers. Tomorrow we have two female comedians, both yearlings, in their first year in comedy.
That's cool, though. That's awesome.
And then on Thursday, we have two comedians with names I can't pronounce, people of color who have like these West African or West Asian names that I can't pronounce. And in between, I don't believe in coincidence anymore. Anyway, our next guest is also a filmmaker, Jacob. Excuse me. Let's start over. Jacob Allen Clark, director of video production, freelance filmmaker, collector of Star Wars memorabilia. These are just a few of the many titles Jacob has accrued over the years. Born and raised in Amarillo, Texas, by morning, Jacob always found an interest in cameras and storytelling, as we were talking about just a little while ago. He picked up his first camera at 12 and never looked back from there. Before his sophomore year in high school, he relocated to Missouri, which is close to Kansas, close enough to Wichita to make this a coincidence that I don't believe in, and is now based in Kansas City. Ladies and gentlemen, please open your ears, open your minds, and help me welcome Jacob Clark to Coffee with the Dog. Jacob, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Have you been to Wichita?
I've just driven through. Actually, no, that's not true. I saw a concert in Wichita one time. Yeah, so I've been to Wichita.
So filmmaking. We were talking this morning because last night the Angel of Death woke me up and told me to watch Facebook Reels, and a guy was talking about lenses, and it started out talking about lenses and then talking about the craft, but then he went into the fact that you can make movies on iPhone. Don't get hung up on the gear. It's all about storytelling. And our first guest this morning was talking about that he's a filmmaker who is now a novelist, and his passion is storytelling. Tell me about how your approach to storytelling and what it means to you.
Yeah, of course. So I mean, I think storytelling, one, is like the most powerful tool we have in the world. Like, if you look back in time, like what we have are stories from those times that influence, what we think of those civilizations today, and all that. I mean, even, you look at like cancel culture, that's like story driven. People are, spinning a narrative about people, whether it's true or not, and it can get people in some deep trouble. So yeah, I've just always had a huge fascination with stories. As a kid, it was like whenever the adults got around and they were telling stories of like, whenever I was a kid, we made this dirt bike that was out of like a go-kart and this like milk carton. And then, it's like I was just always enthralled by people spinning stories, telling stories. So whenever I found out that it could actually be a career, I was like, oh, I should do that. That'd be really cool. That'd be fun. So yeah, I'm just kind of like it kind of says at 12, I
can it be a career? Because this is part of the a lot of artists, and I have tried to make films. I can't say I'm not a filmmaker. I've made films, and none of them made a penny, and I didn't expect them to. But in all areas of creativity, you want to be able to make a living from what it is that you love to do. It's really hard, and some people will sabotage that because there's this feeling of guilt about it. Like, this isn't really work. I enjoy doing this. It's not, you should only get paid for stuff that sucks that you hate to do. But making a living from doing what you love, making a comfortable living that you can just do what you love and not have to get a day job or wait tables or any of that stuff. Possible, probable. Is that you? Are you doing that? Are you living the dream, as they say?
Yeah, I'd say I'm living a version of the dream.
Right.
So we're
Right.
stair stepping our way there.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, my job is full-time video production. That's not always film production or necessarily projects that I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to do this. But I do work for companies. I do various do music videos, just like different things. But yeah, the only thing I get paid for is video production or film production work.
Very
That's
cool.
great.
Very
Yes,
cool.
that's
Good for
awesome,
you.
bro.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Have you had to do any like work safety videos?
I haven't done work safety, but I have done a good amount of training videos, which
Right.
was
Okay.
super
Yeah. Okay.
riveting.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's got to be tedious. That's got to be about as bad as when I used to put music onto the hard drives of Smartcasters, which are an automated DJ system.
Oh,
And
Oh,
if you had
wow.
a contemporary station, it was mind-numbing work. Like,
yeah. I used to do a lot of film for the hair and beauty industry, and that felt like work. It was not fun at all. And people probably don't understand. Hairdressers consider themselves artists of the highest form, like Picasso or something,
I
and
mean,
that
some of it, yeah,
the canvas is a human head.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but they are really I know I'm painting with a very broad brush here, the entire industry, but they're really prima donnas and demanding. And so, for a 1 hour final product, we would be there shooting for 18 hours. 18 hours of lighting and the makeup and all that kind of stuff. Not fun. Is that a part? Not necessarily the hair stuff, but you get sucked into productions like that are just no fun.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very lucky, and I also really strive to avoid, like you can see kind of red flags for
Sure.
productions like that early on. So I try my best to avoid those, but you can never be perfect. So there's definitely been a lot of experiences where like you're on set and you're just like, man, I've been here for an hour and I'm gonna be here for at least 9 more, and this
Yeah.
is already
Right.
feeling rough.
Right. What kind of stories do you because we were talking about earlier 3 types of films that beginning independent people make, and one of them was horror, and the other one was like a heist thing. What was the third one? Well, I don't remember the third one he said, but it wasn't what I was expecting.
Just anything like a chance movie.
Right.
Yeah.
What kind of films do you want to make?
Films that I love are I love biopics. I think they're incredible. Things that just kind of like replicate real life. I think
Yes.
that's kind of what I strive to do. But I love it all. I mean, I do. I've got a comedy short film that I have in post, and I have a different kind of it's a dramedy, but leans more into the drama aspect of it. So I've told those kind of stories before. I'm even doing some documentary work too. So I it's a real kind of shotgun approach with me.
Right. Nice.
Do you have a futurist vision of things? Because I like to think about where industries are going, and I remember when I was in ninth grade, and now we're talking 100 years ago. My science teacher told me by the time you become an adult, all the music will be made on computers, and then nobody had a computer in those days. Nobody even knew anybody who had a computer, and we laughed at him. We thought that was just absurd. Like that's not going to happen.
Right.
And now, of course, but in film, I'm concerned that everything is superheroes and animation or CGI and all that kind of stuff. And for me, for older people, and of course, I'm going to be dead in. But by the time advances happen, it won't matter. But storytelling, I think, it's hard for me to concentrate on a story, and people of my age to concentrate on story when we're full with all this like really fantastic imagery and superheroes and CGI stuff. Well, what is your take on, because you talk about dramas and all that real life stories, are we going to lose that in the future, do you think?
I don't know if we'll lose it. I mean, we've already kind of seen like there's been paring backs of stuff like that. I think it was Adam Levine was talking about with comedies, how a studio used to have 20 comedies they'd make a year. Now that's down more to like 6, and it's because of like, you know, the superhero movies, Marvel. Like everybody sees a Marvel film and it's like, yeah, it's an action film, but also it's really funny. So it's kind of a comedy film. So
That is
there's this
true.
expectation level of like, oh, a comedy film now looks like a $200 million movie. And that's just not realistic. You need to be able to make comedies that are 2 million, 5 million bucks,
Right.
and be able to just kind of churn them out. And they're not going to look the best, but they'll be funny. You know, they'll have things that can influence the culture of the times, like a lot of other, you know, comedy films from the past have done.
Right. Do you write scripts yourself or not? You know, you shop for scripts.
Yeah, so I do write, but I've also, so the two different shorts, like narrative shorts that I have in post right now, one of them I wrote myself, the other I had a friend, it was his script and he wanted to make it. So I was like, oh, I can help you do that.
Right.
Cool.
People know you're a filmmaker. Do you get inundated with pain in the ass, lousy projects that aren't worth it, and have to reject stuff?
Yeah, I mean, like whenever it's normally either student work where, you know, like a student's like, ah, yeah, I have this cool idea for, you know, and they describe like a super expensive idea that's going to be really hard to pull off, and they're like, yeah, I want to do this. Could you help me with it? And it's like, man, I could consult with you maybe, but I'm not going to work on it. That's going to be pretty rough. But that, and then people who like you'll meet people that they're like, oh, dude, I have all these great ideas for film.
Right.
And then they think that I'm like a studio executive that can greenlight their project. And I'm like, they like tell me this huge, and it's again, it's always a huge giant like sci-fi or, you know, big action thriller film. And I'm just sitting there like,
something real easy to make.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff is typically what will I have to kind of tamper people's expectations and be like, I don't want to kill your dream, but also there is a thing called reality that we need to operate within.
Right. I highlighted this comment before, but it seems to have taken the next step now. I love this perfect evolution of beard growth. We went from no beard to a little beard to, you know, goatee, now to full blown almost ZZ Top look here. So anyway, what are you proud of? Your shirt says I'm proud of, and we can't see.
Yeah. So it says I'm proud of you.
Me?
Thank you. Proud of everybody.
Thank you.
I'm actually. Oh, no, I'm not going to say it. I can't. I was told not to say bad things about me. I was about to say bad shit about myself.
Yeah.
Good job, Matt. Good job.
What? Because I stopped myself?
Yes.
Believe me, as soon as I get off the air, I'm going to say it anyway. So that challenge, budget is always a challenge. Is that a deal killer? I mean, how much? The first thought is always, how much money is this going to take to make this film?
Yeah, it's definitely up there. I mean, it's, you know, whenever like, there's always like the pie in the sky, you know, or origin of every film where you're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we did this and this and all this kind of shot would be awesome and everything. And then once you like, you know, have your like dreams meet reality, which is typically a producer who's going to, you know, actually logistically pull things together. That's where they go, cool. Do you have $100,000 for this short film? No. Oh. Cool. Well, then we need to pare things down. And, you know, that's where, you know, certain locations get, you know, either merged or completely canceled. And, you know, hey, instead of this kind of a shot, you could just put it on a tripod, you know, like, so that is always, I don't think it's necessarily like a budget can be, well, it can be a killer to a project, but I think budgets is where they kind of force you to be creative. And that's
so
where,
if I got $23, I can make a film, because I that's what I got, $23. Can we do my movie?
Yeah.
Well, what are your feelings on like crowdsourcing and like you know, getting sometimes, you know, some filmmakers are like using their audience to like, you know, fund it. What are your feelings on those kind of things?
Yeah, I think crowdsourcing is awesome. I think it's a really cool sort of evolution of indie filmmaking. Because before, you know, if you make an indie film 10 or 20 years ago, you would just have to go to people you knew who had money and been like, please give me money for this thing. Like it'd be so cool if you did. But now you know, you can just leverage, you know, if you have an audience online already and they want to see something from you, you know, it's almost like pre-selling tickets. So I think that's super cool. I've tried crowdfunding a couple of times. It's not that success. Like if you don't have one, a kick-ass campaign, or two, a big existing audience already, it's an uphill battle. So it's really difficult to successfully crowdsource stuff unless you are, you know, people who like have Patreons where like you have this audience of people who are like, yeah, I'm just going to subscribe to you and then you'll make stuff. So
I got a guy who he came here to make his, I think it was Indiegogo, might have been GoFundMe, one of those, to do his film 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago now. He did it, and his goal was only $12,000. And he got to $12,000. He bought a camera, and the film has not yet been made. He doesn't have 30 seconds of film in the can.
Why? Why though?
Well, I was going to get to that because this is part of my, I don't know. It's a weird feeling for me because as creators, we want to get paid fairly for our work, and we don't want to get taken advantage of. But if you're like that kind of low budget, $12,000, and all you have is use that to buy the equipment, you can't pay the actors, and now you're gonna have to. You can't pay anybody, so you're gonna have to rely on people working for spec. And this is, you don't want people taking advantage of you and making promises, you know, to you of money that's coming and it never comes and you're never going to see it and all that. You don't want to be taken advantage of, but then you become the guy taking advantage of people. It's just it's really ugly, and that whole double standard where I don't want it to happen to me, but I'm happy to. And then he ends up using friends and family as actors, and I'm like, you can't do that. As much as you think it's easy, it's not that easy. You actually have to have some dedication to the craft. And last thing I'll say on that is when you use family and friends, they're not going to show up. They're not going to be dedicated. You say the shoot is it's going to take 9 hours on the shoot this day. They'll come in. They'll be like, I want to do my part and get out. I mean, I got to go meet the babysitter and all that kind of stuff. They're not professionals. They're not there for the day. They're not understanding what the commitment they have to make. It's a disaster. And that's why he got his $12,000 and hasn't made anything yet. So talk to me about that kind of how you get actors, how you get people to buy in and commit to small budget stuff. Do you have to do you have to pay everybody, and do you have to like kind of make negotiations on spec and future payments and all that stuff? How do you get an independent film made?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of different avenues you can go down, which you kind of listed off a handful. You know, there's some productions that I've done where it's just, you know, everybody, I've shared the idea with everyone and they have volunteered and said, I want to help you make this. And then I go, well, I can only pay for food, you know, maybe I can cover gas. And then they go, yeah, that's good with me. Like, I just want to make a fun thing. Then there's also, you know, like people, those are typically friends, you know, those are people that know me and like want to help support me do something, and they know that it's going to be a good time on set. But whenever it's strangers, you can kind of get away with like, hey, you know, we're not hitting, you know, SAG scale, you know, minimums, but we can pay you $100 a day if you come out and help, you know, be a part of this. And then, you know, there's also people I've known that have said, you act now for free, but you're going to own a percentage of the film. So if and when it makes money, then you'll make money, which basically means you're not going to make any money.
I mean, but if you believe in yourself and you believe in your performance, maybe that's not true. You know what I mean?
But let me just stop you there, Will, because part of the Hollywood accounting thing, even going back to the earliest days of Hollywood, was to offer those kind of deals to people and then use your accountants to show that it didn't make any money. And that's always in the back of people's mind. Even if you go into, you as the director or filmmaker, go into it with the best of intentions, those people have to trust that you're not going to fucking screw them at some point and try that fancy accounting stuff. So even if it does make money, I'll show you that. What was the film that they were talking about at the beginning of the strike, trying to say that this film made no fucking money at all? And it was like, it did like $350 million at the box office or something. I mean, there's always that aspect of it. You're trusting people to be open and transparent about what the real profits are when you accept a deal like that. It's really tough, you know. So, and the other part is, can you get quality actors? Because the quality is important. I mean, people know what they're doing, professionals, to take that kind of deal. That's always a difficult thing, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the two most important things, like you say, your buddy, you know, he got a budget and he goes, "I'm going to buy a camera." It's like, man, like if you're going to spend money anywhere, spend it on your cast and spend it on a sound person. It's like you can only pay two people, like pay an actor and pay the sound guy, because sound is the most like bad sound in a film is unforgivable, but like decent visuals with really great sound, people will watch the entire film and it'll
Right.
feel good. You know, you can forgive a lackluster camera. You know, like there's Hollywood films that have been shot on an iPhone. An iPhone
yeah.
is not an Arri Alexa, but they have phenomenal sound people that are running with the best of the best kind of gear, and like the film sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
And people go and they pay $10 a seat at a theater. So, and again, you also have incredibly talented actors in front of that iPhone, and like that's what makes it. The gear it's a fun thing to like play with, and I'm a gearhead. I love, you know, looking at all the new specs and all the new cameras that are coming out and lenses and all that. But ultimately, like they're all tools that help you build out the story. And it's like
Yeah.
you don't need a huge camera always.
Right.
You know, like you can build a house with a hammer
Right.
and a nail gun. The hammer is
Right.
just going to take a little bit more work to, you know, get it up and everything, but you can get it done all the same.
I hear you, and I'm glad you said the audio part, because I think a lot of people discount that. Like, especially you know, first-time filmmakers, they don't put enough thought into how important sound is, and I can't stress that enough. And I'm glad you did. Is that bad sound will kill, and nobody will watch it if it's got bad sound on it, and that's true. You can just find stuff on YouTube or anything that the minute you find it difficult to hear, or there's like extra noise and all that kind of crap, you're off it. You bounce pretty quickly on that stuff. I can't imagine being in a theater or renting a film and bringing it up on your television, and all of a sudden it's just horrific audio. But people don't pay enough attention on that. The other part of it, I want to ask you about this. What is the director? Are you the director, right? When on your projects, is that your role?
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the many hats that I'll end up wearing most of the time. But yeah, the main thing that I do is directing.
Clarify for beginners what a director's role is in your view, because different people will tell you different things, and how important, how much of the director's role is on coaching actors to get their to deliver their lines and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So the way I view directing, like in its most basic, simple form, is the director is the visionary of the project. So they're not really somebody who is logistically making things happen. It's more, you know, you are the valve from the idea to the story being actualized in real life. And so a lot of times what that looks like, what I like to do, and I think what good directing is 90% of your job is just getting the right people in the right spot on set. Hire the right
Sure.
actors, hire the right
Sure.
crew, like put those people into positions where you know that they're awesome people and they're going to succeed and they're very talented. And then that other 10% is just steering the ship. So, you know, if
Right.
like you think of like a ship captain, like they're not raising the mast, they're not, you know, dropping the anchor, but they're saying, "Oh, I can see that these things need to happen." And they say, "All right, yeah, we need to do this." And then the people who are in charge of doing that, and that's what they're the best at doing, they go and do that thing.
Right.
So that's kind of how I view it. And as far as like coaching actors, if you have a great actor, most of the time it's not really coaching, it's just more having a conversation. Like if a scene feels
Right.
weird, I like to just go to the actor and be like, "Hey, tell me like where you're at right now. Like what are you feeling? Like what tell me, like you're in the head of the character, what is the character feeling right now?" And let them kind of like express what they're interpreting from it. And then that's
Right.
where you can kind of go, "Oh, okay, I can see how you see it that way. What I was kind of looking at was, you know, we need to deliver this more in this kind of a light, or oh, like instead of thinking of it that way, what if you took it from this angle? And so it's more giving them suggestions and then seeing where they take it. Because if actors don't like if you go in and you go, you need to deliver the line just like this. Like this is exactly what you need to do. They want a collaboration. They want somebody who's going to let them leave their mark on the film. And I believe that collaboration is it breeds higher quality work. And so whenever you leave the room open for collaboration, you have people that they'll bring something to the film that you're like, whoa, I never saw that, but that's incredible. That's awesome. Yeah, we have to keep that, and then you're giving them a note of, hey, keep that in this next tape. I really liked that. And then, they keep getting to build off of that performance.
Takes, too many takes can ruin the energy and all that kind of stuff. I was watching Pesci talk about the scene in Goodfellas that what do you mean funny? Funny how? That scene, and he said that was improvised, but it wasn't improvised on camera. It was improvised during rehearsal, and then it was like, let's nail it down now, and then they have to go over and talk about that and kind of re-script it based off the improvisation, and then take it several times until Scorsese is happy with it. But you don't want to take it too many times and kill the energy. That's it. So that part of it where the actors are kind of almost rewriting your script for you, and you have to be open to that, but you also have to be strong enough to say, no, that do it according to the script. Walking that fine line. Can you talk to me about how you manage that? And I guess I don't want to preface your answer, but I think a lot of it has to do with the personality and what the actor you're talking to, right? The individual and their ability to say, well, you got some good ideas there, but I prefer you do it to the script or something like that.
Yeah, and that's something I always preach to, whenever actors come on to a project or they're thinking about coming on to a project. I always like to let them know, hey, my style of directing is the script is a guideline. You don't need to hit every word, but we still need to be getting from point A to point B. So when with that, when you let actors play, they're gonna end up getting too loose, or they're gonna veer too far off. And when that happens, that's when, again, I just like to go to them, have that conversation. And I always like to do the compliment sandwich, where it's my big one. I'm always like, oh man, I love the energy. I love the effort you're giving this. But, this scene, and it's you just need to give them, I think, the perspective of the scene to the whole film. Because it's easy whenever, especially with comedies, it's really easy to get ridiculous fast, because on set, you're having the cast and crew, they start laughing, and that feeds that actor, and they're like, yeah. And then it's well, actually, we don't need, right now in this environment, it feels good, but up on that screen, put it up against this scene and this scene, it's going to feel off. It's not going to feel right. So we need to downplay this, or, so yeah, it's a lot of just trying to give the appropriate amount of perspective to the actor so that they can understand, where they need to operate within.
Right. Now, visiblehorizonfilms.com is your business. But you are first and foremost a creator. I'm just curious about how much of your creative energy gets spent on being a rainmaker and bringing business in and pursuing business, or does the business just come to you? I mean, or how much of your creative energy is spent on making sure the business is doing business?
Yeah, I've tried to make rain before, and it doesn't work. So my philosophy is a lot of I just put out good work, and whenever you put out good work, people come to you for that kind of work. So a lot of word of mouth, a lot of I do one video for this one person, and then their friends see it, and then one of their friends goes, wow, who did that for you? And then that's that kind of gets passed along. So I'm not a salesman. I'm terrible at doing sales and all that.
I think most creative people would say that. Most creative people just don't. Even if you think you could be a good salesman, you don't want to do it. It's just not what you signed up for. But I'm curious because Will, you think that works for every creative pursuit, not just filmmaking? This whole idea of just do great work and trust that the people who have hired you to do good work will tell their friends and other associates and network for you. Do you think
I mean, okay, so this is what I'll say about it. I think that word of mouth is, I think, the best kind of advertising in of that. If somebody tells you like what a good experience or what a good job, some there's a sentiment in that hits harder with people. But the problem is the scale of it without sharing it, and this is why it's important for people to, if you have a friend that's creative in any kind of way, that's out there trying to do something, whether they're doing art, they're doing music, they're doing comedy, they're doing film, whatever it is, share their posts, share their stuff, because word of mouth for sure is the most meaningful type of advertising, but it's hard to get it to scale in a way that makes a difference. And that's why, like, when people don't share, it drives me crazy. It's like, you're going to share 20 fucking things on Facebook today. Why can you not show a little love and have my post be one of them?
My breakfast, the picture of my breakfast is far more important than that.
But like, okay, like, I don't know. It just it drives me batty personally, because it's like, it's 3 seconds of your life that I need from you,
right?
And it could change everything.
Believe me, I got 5,000 friends on Facebook, and you're the only one I know who shares any. Oh no, Kelly does too, but very few people share any stuff. And I share everybody's work, and I will be sharing links to Jacob's site. Now, tell me about marketing. Kansas City as a market, Kansas City Mo, not Kansas City, Kansas. Kansas City Mo as a market. Do you find enough? I don't know, because obviously every market will have commercial work and promo work and stuff like that. But is there a market is there a film industry, like a feature film industry in Kansas City that I don't know about?
Yeah, and I'll also preface this with that information's a little old on my website. I'm actually Austin, Texas based now.
Oh, nice.
And and a big reason for that move was that there's not films getting made in Kansas City. Now, the Missouri State legislature just passed a bill that incentivizes, like, it's a tax incentive for film production in the state. So that could change. But I mean, the films that get made in KC, it's maybe 1 or 2 get made a year that are, decently budgeted. And by decently, I'm talking like sub 100,000, but above 50 grand. So like, super, super indie stuff. It's people that are just throwing stuff together and making something happen. So it's not a film production hub by any means, but there is a ton of commercial production that happens in Kansas City. They have 2 really big. One's global for sure. It's actually the largest marketing agency in the world. It's headquartered in Kansas City. So they have a ton of clients that come through there. And then another one, I don't know if they're global, but they're at least a national marketing agency that, again, they have huge clients, and they all kind of rely on the Kansas City market to fulfill those production needs for their commercials.
How long have you been in Austin?
I've just been here a little over 3 months.
Oh, great. So
we have to say goodbye to Govs. I blew past the stop sign on Govs again. But we caught it in time. Governors, have a great week. They guys got some good stuff coming up at Governors Comedy Club. Just check out the website, governorscomedy.com.